What a way to start off the week. We have had health and safety protocols changing here over the last couple of days. Changes about masks, changes about casinos. And now we have a cruise cancellation, and we have more positive COVID-19 tests on cruise ships. Not a great way to start, but let's get into all of it right after this. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. Alright, so I'm sure y'all know by now, over the last couple days, we've had quite a few changes. We have seen an increase in mask requirements across cruise lines. Norwegian cruise lines, you got to start wearing a mask. You now have to wear it more often on Royal Caribbean and more often on Carnival cruise lines. We've seen changes in the smoking in the casino policies. On Carnival, there is no more smoking in the casinos. And Royal Caribbean is starting to pick up that policy as well. We've seen it in 3 of their cruise ships so far. I expect to see it in more before this is over. All because of an increase in COVID cases. All because of the Omicron variant spreading much faster than any other variant before. Even if you're vaccinated, there's still a chance you could get it, a greater chance you could get it. You'll be asymptomatic, only have mild symptoms, but it is causing positive COVID-19 cases. And a good example of that is here just this last week. Symphony of the Seas got back to the port of Miami with 48 positive cases on board. Now this started when one passenger tested positive for COVID-19. They conducted contact tracing, and when they tested those individuals, they found more positive cases. So the ship had a little over 6,000 passengers and crew on board. And so when you look at the big scheme of things, 48 out of a little over 6,000, that's not really a big deal. That's not a whole lot of cases. That's not a big percentage. So this information isn't to scare anybody. It isn't to talk anybody out of cruising. It isn't to say cruising is bad. This is just information that's out there. Truthful information. Before you know those people start pointing a finger, cruising's nothing but a floating petri dish. Well, that's a bunch of BS. Truth is, 48 out of a little over 6,000 is not a huge number. And of those people, they were all asymptomatic or had very mild symptoms. It's not like anybody was down there sick or dying or anything like that. Thank God we don't want anything like that. They just simply tested positive because of contact tracing after one individual. Now, they were all placed into quarantine. They were isolated. The health and safety protocols kicked in just like they are supposed to, and the situation was handled. The ship came back to Miami, did its change out, and is still out there sailing. Nothing was canceled over these cases. Nor should it have been. Okay, because again, 48 out of a little over 6,000, really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things when you look at all of the cases going on worldwide. Now, Royal Caribbean does sail at 95% vaccinated, and they said of the people that did test positive, 98% of them were fully vaccinated. And of course, everybody is required to take a COVID-19 test and have a negative test result prior to even boarding the ship. But it is this type of situation, it is this example as to why the cruise lines are increasing their health and safety protocols, why we're seeing stricter masking, why we're seeing no smoking in casinos. And we're probably going to see another item or two probably pop up, see it across some more different cruise lines before this is over. You know, it's going to get worse before it gets better, especially here over the holiday season. But hopefully here in 2022, the first part of 2022, we'll see this ease down and get a little bit better. Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but I do watch the news, and they say with the Omicron variant taking over, having much milder symptoms, that this actually could be a step towards the end of this type of situation. Now, we'll see if all that's true. We'll see if there's any fact or science behind that, because again, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, so I can't speak to how factual that actually is. But over in Europe, the restrictions are getting a lot tighter. There are several travel restrictions in place over in the UK, Germany, and France. affecting the way people can get in and out of the country, and it is also beginning to affect the cruise lines, which has caused a cruise cancellation. So the MSC Magnifica has had to cancel all cruises December the 19th through January the 14th of 2022, and it is over these COVID restrictions that there are some where passengers from certain countries are not allowed to go into other countries. They can't get off the ship, different testing requirements, all sorts of different things that create such a headache and a hassle for the cruise line and for the cruise passengers on board. It really limits what they can do, where they can get off, and the type of activities they can participate in when they go to port. So MSC has decided to cancel these sailings over these new restrictions in Europe. Now, hopefully that kind of stuff stays in Europe. Hopefully, it doesn't happen to anybody else and nobody else gets their cruise canceled. But I don't want to see that sort of stuff come over here, particularly, let's say, into the Caribbean, where we start getting tougher and more stringent restrictions at the ports we visit. That could affect our cruising here if something like that was to start happening. Really hoping that's not something we see. I hope this isn't a glimpse of a future that we could have in this area if this doesn't get under control here in the next couple of months. But only time is going to tell, and we'll keep an eye on it and see what changes come up. And if anything does, of course, we will immediately let you guys know. So the best advice I have for everybody right now is, if you have any cruises booked for the remainder of December, January, and February, at least right now, keep an eye on your emails and see if the cruise lines send you anything letting you know about any changes that may occur for your sailing. Any policy changes, health and safety protocol changes, any itinerary changes, and any cancellations. Hopefully you won't ever get a cancellation, but just keep an eye out. That way you know as early as possible if there's going to be something that affects your cruise, if something you need to do, something you need to change, or something you need to handle prior to embarkation. That way it's not a last minute surprise or a reason why they can deny you boarding. So definitely keep an eye on those items. All right, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up. Have yourself a great day. And like always, we'll see you on the high seas.